بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. Welcome to all of the viewers for another episode of 5 Minutes of Fa'idah. And in today's episode, or tonight's episode, we're going to speak briefly, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about as-safar, traveling. We're going to talk about traveling, whereas we're here in the airport, inshallah, about to travel and go on a very long trip. And this term, safar, has been mentioned several times in the book and in the sunnah. And from the wisdoms of this is that everything that a Muslim does, there is an act of worship. There is some type of dhikr, some type of remembrance. There is a right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon him in that act. And from those things is safar, is traveling. And the Muslim, rather every single slave, Muslim or non-Muslim, in one point of their lives has to travel, or has to have something to do with traveling, or someone that they know or they're related to is going to be traveling, so on and so forth. So therefore, if traveling is a necessity for almost every person, then it only makes sense, and it's from the mercy and the wisdom of Allah to legislate acts for us to worship Allah, to get closer to Allah, to practice our religion while we do that act of traveling. And we want to speak about just a few basic etiquettes of traveling. From those etiquettes, as the people of knowledge mentioned, is that the Muslim should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He should try his best to be conscious of Allah, to be mindful of Allah, to be watchful of Allah, to lower his or her gaze and not to look at everything, especially that which is impermissible or disliked. The Muslim should try to cover his debts, or at least record his debts, and make sure that he has a will. Make sure that all rights and responsibilities that people have over him are recorded, or vice versa. Things that people owe him, for example. Okay? Also from the etiquettes of traveling, as the Prophet ﷺ, he would give farewell tidings to his companions. And his companions, they should give farewell tidings to their friend or their family member who's traveling. May you have a safe trip. May Allah protect you. And I advise you to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many of the people of the past, whenever they parted, they would recite Surah Al-Asr to each other. Wal Asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa aminu salihati wa tawasaw bil-haq wa tawasaw bil-sabr. They would advise each other with this magnificent, great, tremendous surah. And there lies no doubt, when you travel, you realize the importance of time and the blessing of time. And traveling, as the Prophet ﷺ said, is a type of punishment. It is a type of the torment. And this is because when a person travels, he leaves his home, his comforts, the things that he's used to, and he goes to a place in which may not be so comfortable or may not be so familiar. Okay? And this reminds him of the ni'mah of time. Another etiquette, very important with regards to traveling, is for the Muslim to learn the basic rulings and regulations of traveling. And from the most important rules and regulations of traveling is prayer, is salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has legislated the prayer upon us during all times. Allah says those who remember Allah standing, sitting, and lying on their sides. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين فإن خفتم فرجالا أو ركبانا. Allah says strictly guard the prayers, all of the prayers, look after them. And Allah did not say احفظوا الصلاة, He says حافظوا. Okay, strictly guard is a difference between just preserve or guard, meaning look after the prayer, be conscious of the prayer, be mindful of the prayer, be learning of the rulings and the regulations of the prayer at home and while traveling, and especially the Asr prayer. Allah then says in this verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ, if you are afraid, in other words, at times of war, then pray standing, or فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ فَرِجَالًا أَوْ رُكْبَانًا, riding or walking. In other words, there's never a time in which you do not have to pray as a Muslim. So unfortunately, many Muslims, when they travel, they become lackadaisical, they become lax or lethargic. They think they don't have to make salat. They think they don't have to pray because I'm in the airport, because I'm traveling, because I can't stand up. And that's totally incorrect. So from the most important etiquettes of traveling is that you learn the basics of salah. When to pray, how to pray, when you're allowed to combine prayers, when you're allowed to shorten your prayers, when you leave your home, when you're on an airplane, when you're facing the Qibla, when you're not facing the Qibla, so on and so forth. These are all things from the essential etiquettes of traveling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a safe journey and to give all of the Muslims a safe journey and allow us all to learn our religion and have true understanding and fiqh of our deen. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Until the next episode, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.